Is this book persuasive? I personally think this book is persuasive due to the author using her own experiences to help the reader better understand firsthand how it felt before, during, and after her stroke. I think by giving those details into how it affected her personally and how she did get affected by such a crucial and deathly, experience in life, I think she's really able to get a sense of credibility to what she's saying. And I think by having this credibility, she's able to persuade people to be more knowledgeable about how, people with disabilities from having a stroke or just people who have experienced it, how it really affects them and how it can take a toll on people who've struggled with having strokes. And not only people who've had it, but family members who've experienced just being close to someone who's had a stroke and having to take care of them, and just trying to persuade people into being more knowledgeable and understanding of the effects and even like the first signs of a stroke. I think she sees a lot of people are blinded or not really too sure about exactly how a stroke can affect somebody. And I think by writing this book, she's trying to persuade people into being more considerate and understanding.
Okay, so for my first question, it was, who is the speaker and in what ways does the speaker establish credibility? And I said the speaker of the book is the author Jill Bolte Taylor, and we know this because she uses words in the first person vocabulary like I, me, and myself when she goes throughout the book. And I think she establishes credibility because she experienced her stroke, which is what the book is about, and she experienced it firsthand. And the way that she describes her circumstances and situations throughout the book, she describes it in a very descriptive way, and I think that helps the readers get a sense of imagery and imagine what really happened in these situations. And the way she describes it just makes readers want to believe what she's saying, and it helps her establish credibility all throughout the book. So going back to who the speaker is, at the beginning of page 58, she says, "As I sat there in the silence of my mind, satisfied that Steve would get me help, I felt relieved that I had successfully orchestrated my rescue. My paralyzed arm was partially recovered, and although it hurt, I felt hopeful that it would recover completely." And she uses words that use that first person vocabulary, and I sat, my mind, I felt, I had, and she uses descriptive words, and it helps readers imagine what's actually going on in the text.
What rhetorical features are evident? The author uses metaphors, tones, and similes. One simile that the author uses is, "I was like a toddler wanting to go out and explore, as long as my mommy wasn't too far away," on page 124. Then on 125, she says, "Like an innocent puppy that is being yelled at, I would become afraid of that person, repelled by their energy, and tend to not trust them." By using this and also others like tending the garden of her mind and peace is only a thought away, she's able to show positive thinking and mindfulness that is guiding her healing. Also, by her tone, the tone moves from fear to calmness as she recovers. It shifts from intense to urgent to peaceful and inspiring, all from her stroke.
So, for this specifically, I said everyone should start advocating for stroke victims, and also give more education on the topic within schools. And I also put there would be another, for online options on how to deal with the effects of a stroke, and what happens to the body. I do think throughout school, because I personally haven't, I'm sure if you're, in a health centered class or something, that's different, but just for regular classes or anything, it's not required for students or people to learn about stroke, and how to, I wouldn't say prevent it, but how to deal with it if it, occurs. So I do think that is something that needs to go into action, and to make changes with this issue, because I feel like a lot of people, including the author of this book, she had some background knowledge of it, which means she was better at being able to deal with it, but not everybody has that knowledge with them, which is why I feel like schools or even online options, there should be something to make sure people get awareness on this topic.